You're watching HCAM TV.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into HCAM Sports Talk Live. I am your host, Tom Nappy, and joining us on the show today, we have Bob Hamilton, Kevin Stone, and we're expecting to have Jared Keene joining us as well. So we're hoping that he'll partake in our conversation. Today, we're going to be talking about a number of different topics. We'll be talking about winter sports as far as high school is concerned. What is the situation for MIAA high school sports? We got Kevin here to touch on some Boston College football. He's been following the team very closely throughout the season. We'll touch on a couple moves the Boston Celtics have made, and we'll have everyone's favorite segment, our NFL weekly picks. We'll do our week 13 picks, but there is a couple of notes that I want to make sure everyone knows out there before we get into further discussion. The Hopkinton Little League registration is now open. The deadline is January 31st. So if you want to sign up for Hopkinton Little League baseball or softball, do it before January 31st and head over to hopkintonlittleleague.org. And then you click register now, and you could sign up for Hopkinton Little League baseball or softball. And also, the winter registration for Hopkinton Hillers High School Athletics is now up and running. You head over to the registration page and you open on your family ID, and the deadline is December 10th. So if you want to play winter sports over at Hopkinton High School, do so. Sign up before December 10th at the Family ID website. And here is just a great post from Hopkinton High School Athletic Director Rich Cormier. Unfortunately, no Thanksgiving game this year, but this is a picture from last year's game, a great throwback shot of all the players and coaches along with their parents as they also celebrated their senior day. We certainly missed Thanksgiving football this year, and hopefully we'll have it back in 2021. But Kevin, I'm sure it was, and it looks like Jared's with us too. Guys, first off, Kevin, Jared, how are you?
I'm good, Tom. How are you, man? Thanks for having me back on.
Doing good,
Great
man.
To be back on.
See you again.
And you guys work together over at Metrowest Daily News, but you haven't seen each other in a while, huh?
We have
I
not.
couldn't tell you the last time.
A lot of remote working nowadays, especially in our industry. But guys, some great topics to touch on. First off, I want to pick your brain about high school winter sports and find out what you know, what you have heard. Obviously, you guys are covering a number of local schools and leagues for the Metrowest Daily News. So any breaking news about the winter sports? What's the latest that you guys have heard?
Jared, go first.
I mean, I know probably just as much as you do, Tom. I don't really know. There's really no breaking news that I've heard of or anything. Besides what's come out recently about some of the modifications that are going to be had for basketball and hockey and all the different sports. And I know I saw that, and Kevin actually retweeted it, that Tri-County actually canceled winter sports today, which is kind of a shame. But
that's Tri-County High School, or is it the league?
Yeah, no, Tri-County High in Franklin. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and I know that I think I saw recently that Wellesley might not be having basketball this year, or only is doing certain sports. But yeah, I don't really have any breaking news or anything like that. Kevin, I don't know if you do. Tom, I probably know what you know at this point.
Yeah, I was just saying the same thing, man. We haven't heard anything. We're in as much of a holding pattern as anybody else. I know Jared probably feels the same way. I'm dying to get to a game. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I still don't know how the football in February happens, but We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, I mean, so far so good. It sounds like we're going to have winter sports to some extent. We'll see how long that lasts. But no, in terms of breaking news, man, I think we're all in the same boat.
All right. Well, hey, I just figured you guys are in touch with a lot of different schools, a lot of different leagues. Maybe you had something that I don't. And by the way, for anyone watching out there, feel free to send us your questions through our Facebook or YouTube live stream. So the gist I'm getting as far as winter sports, I'm watching the schedules that teams are making because a lot of them, such as Hopkinton, are doing their registrations. They want people to sign up. So it does look like, and that's encouraging to have the registration process going, because that gives me the impression that we will have basketball, we will have hockey, and we will have a pretty normal winter season. But watching so far the schedules for various teams around the area, it looks like the season's probably going to start games in January. That's the gist I've been getting. So obviously, there'll be more to come, and we'll certainly get Hopkinton High School Athletic Director Rich Cormier back on the show very soon to find out what he knows. I know there's been a number of meetings trying to plan for everything as far as the winter sports season. Obviously, one of the big concerns is with many schools utilizing their athletic centers as classroom space due to the whole social distancing thing. That could be an issue for basketball, certainly. And we know in the TVL that indoor cross country has been moved to most likely the fall 2 season. So it doesn't look like in the TVL we're going to have indoor cross country for the winter season. But other than that, we are hoping for a relatively normal winter season.
Wrestling was moved to the spring season. I don't know how they're going to have wrestling matches outside. That's going to be kind of crazy.
They could get a ring like the WWE, and that'll be interesting. And I wonder how much of an impact that'll have on sports like baseball or some of the other lacrosse as a spring sport. So are there a lot of wrestlers that participate in those sports, and will they have to choose? I'm sure there's some. So
definitely.
It'll certainly be a different look having wrestling in the spring along with baseball, lacrosse, and sports like that. And I'm sure some athletes will have to make difficult choices that would typically do both. But obviously, wrestling is really the only winter sport that had severe restrictions still on it just because of how close proximity of a sport it is. And, when you're talking about social distancing, wrestling's pretty much the complete opposite.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see that sport happening in the winter season, but hopefully we'll have some basketball and hockey. And based on rumors I'm hearing, it's certainly going to be a shortened season, and it'll probably be the type of season where it's mostly league games. We know there'll be no playoffs, there'll be no tournaments, but really at this point, it's all about getting the kids out there, especially those seniors, to enjoy playing high school athletics in their senior year. But guys, I'm in the same boat as you. I'm hoping to get to many games this winter. We know we won't be getting the games as soon as we'd like, but even if it's January, we'll take it, right?
So the season technically starts, the 14th, and then that's a couple of weeks of practices or tryouts or whatever. And then, yeah, like you said, I'm guessing games will probably start early January or something, or early to mid-January. Who knows?
Right. Yeah, the way it starts the 14th, at least in the TVL. I guess I can't speak for the other leagues, but I think it's a pretty statewide thing at this point that it's starting around the 14th, and it looks like games are going to be happening in January. I haven't seen any December games scheduled. A couple of the schedules that I looked at Milford basketball, I looked at Hopkinton basketball, Franklin, and all the games I've seen are in January. So that's what I'm assuming is the plan's going to be.
I think the craziest modification, just on the topic of modifications that we've seen from basketball and hockey and some of the other sports, and I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, even with Rich, Tom, was, the fact that for hockey, they're not allowing that you can't go into locker rooms. So you basically have to come to the rink already dressed or whatever. I don't know how they're going to pull that off. That's going to be kind of crazy.
Right. I mean, I don't think they have to have their skates on. They could just kind of carry those in. I guess, except maybe the goalie has to. I don't know. But yeah, that's going to be kind of wild. Especially, I can't imagine the goalie's going to have the big leg pads on and stuff like that. That he could probably do in the arena, but no locker rooms. And you have to imagine the audience size will be severely limited. And I guess one of the other crazy things in hockey, they're going to need to separate the players more on the bench. How are they going to do that?
Right.
Because in hockey, you're just kind of hopping over the wall right into the game. And if you have to put players in the crowd, well, I don't know. Is there going to be stoppages now and line changes? I guess we'll see.
I thought I also heard that, scrums in front of the net are going to have to be minimized to like 2 or 3 players or something like that as well.
Yeah, it's like a one-on-one scrum in front of the net or something.
I can't imagine this goes over very well or actually works out well.
Right.
But at least they're going to be on the ice.
You're right. I was wondering if there was going to be something like 3-on-3 hockey or something like that, cutting down the amount of players. That would be pretty great.
That'd be wild.
Hockey is one of those sports that you could decrease the amount of players and it would make it probably even better and more action-packed.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I haven't heard too many rule changes yet, but you have to imagine there's got to be some with this whole bench situation. And obviously the social distancing thing, you don't want to herd of players all gathered, in a pile in front of the net, which you get in a lot of situations. So I imagine more stoppages and contact situations in hockey, but hopefully it won't be severely altered. Hopefully it'll be pretty normal hockey. I guess that's all we can hope for at this point. But we shall see what will happen, and we'll certainly get information out to you as we get it. And again, we're certainly hoping to get Rich Cormier back on the show as well to discuss the latest developments as the TVL is continuing to meet, the various sports committees are continuing to meet, and there's constant discussion about what's going to happen this winter season. And the unfortunate thing, I guess, is with the case rates going up and some schools closing, that doesn't help the situation. But as everything's been in 2020, we'll wait and see. In any case, Kevin, you've been covering a lot of Boston College football this year, and they're having a good season. They're 6-4. And we had you on, I think, right around the start of the season or just before the season to talk about what the media situation was going to be. But now that we have you on towards the end of the season, it's good to touch base and find out how has it been covering this team and what's it been like at the stadium over there. Obviously, it must have been a little weird with no fans, but BC, pretty good football team this year.
Yeah, so first and foremost, anybody that talks about the program needs to talk about how they've treated COVID. I think as of Saturday, maybe even Monday, it was over 8,000 negative tests. That's incredible. It's absolutely mind-boggling what they've been able to do. Coach Hafley has said, other programs and other NFL teams have called them and said, hey, what have you done? And he just says, I don't know. It's really been about the kids staying away from parties, keeping distance in class. That's the most incredible thing they've done. Forget 6-4 with a brand new staff. To have 8,000 negative tests when college football and the NFL are falling apart, that's been the most impressive thing that they've done all year. But in terms of covering them, yeah, it's been weird there, but the way their press box is set up, it's kind of quiet in there anyways, no matter what. So look, you always want to hear 40,000 people, but it hasn't been as weird as I thought it would be. The only thing that's really sucked is that there's been no meals for the press during games. So, but other than that, they've done a great job kind of keeping everyone, separate in the box, and they've done a hell of a job based on the circumstances all year long.
Do they at least let you bring your own food in there?
Yes, thank God.
That's good, because some of those games are really long. So I'd imagine you're there probably before the game, maybe interviewing some people, and then you're there obviously for the game and then after the game. So you're probably there for like a good 6-7 hour block.
We've been lucky enough that, there's drinks up there. So, but just one more thing too. what Coach Halfley's done, just in terms of recruiting and then getting kids to buy in again to what he's been preaching. Look, he took the job last December. He's been there for less than a year, and they've made leaps and bounds. Obviously the media attention on the program has grown exponentially. People want to know what they're doing now, and that wasn't the case about a year ago.
Right.
And you mentioned the success that the program has had as far as the negative COVID tests. What are some of the things that they've been doing for this success? Have they been doing things maybe different than some of the other teams that have struggled with cases have been?
It's funny you asked that because it's been brought up really the past 2 weeks. The media's kind of, well, the other people in the press conferences have really kind of asked him, look, you're almost at the finish line here. How have you done this? And he truly doesn't have an answer. It's really just been about kids staying away from parties, staying away from bars, not going home, during Thanksgiving to see their families. The entire program, really, it's been about the student athletes actually wanting to play games and making sure that no one's, screwing other kids over. If you look at the other cases, let's say the SEC cases, I guarantee most of those are coming from parties. I mean, It's hard to imagine they're not. So it's really been about them buying into Halfley and the staff, but really just self-discipline, I think.
Right. And it appears that the players over at BC, they got some good self-discipline for the success that they've been having. I don't even think they've had any games postponed, at least games that were their fault, correct?
No. So I know the ACC, I think they've played 74 of 85 scheduled games. So really the ACC as a whole has been pretty good too. But yeah, BC, they're knock on wood, 4 days away from hitting the finish line. And I said this jokingly a couple of weeks ago, but the further it's gone along, Coach Halfley should be Coach of the Year based on those tests alone. Forget what they've done on the field. That's an incredible number.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at college football as a whole, it seems like every week now you're getting games postponed, canceled. I saw today that the Michigan game this upcoming weekend is canceled.
Yep.
I mean, every week you got big name teams that are having to cancel their games, postpone their games, whatever. And you look at a team like BC who has had all these negative tests. Like Kevin said, that makes that even that much more impressive considering how many games you're seeing canceled, seemingly every week these days.
Oh, absolutely. And yes, the division as a whole, I mean, just looking at the standings here, all the teams have played pretty much all their games. I know there was a couple situations. I think Clemson was involved with one of them. I don't know if it was their fault or not. And I know there was one game moved from Notre Dame, but they've had some good success in the ACC. And BC mentioned they have one more game left. Are we going to have bowl games this year? I know this is the championship system, but are there going to be bowl games?
Are they going to
So they're supposed to. I mean, the problem is there's already been, I think it's 3 bowls that would have been ACC teams have already been canceled. So the list is dwindling. So I feel like you're going to need to be maybe a top 25 team to assure yourself that you're going to be in a bowl. But I mean, they're bowl eligible. They should finish 7-4 unless they kind of slip up against Virginia this week. But look, with Phil Jakovic at quarterback, they're going to be in the hunt for a lot of bowls over the next 3 years or so. So if they get screwed out of one this year, it is what it is. But him alone under center makes the future extremely bright for them.
I'm just curious, Kev, what have you seen, briefly, what have you seen as being the biggest difference actually on the field in terms of, style of play, the way they're getting after things? What's impressed you the most about what they've been doing on the field?
So offensively, I mean, if anyone watches the game, you can see last year it was an A.J. Dillon looking to run the ball 40 times. If you watch the game now, they are a legitimate pro-style offense. Frank Cignetti has worked with, NFL offenses. Really, their whole staff it's an NFL staff. I think every single one of those guys has been at the NFL level and the college level. So there's just kind of a whole another level of focus and intensity. And then offensively, like I said, they fly around. I mean, they're chucking the ball 40 times a game. Defensively, again, secondary flies around. When you watched them last year, it was pretty lethargic on both sides of the ball. So really, it's just the speed, I think, is the biggest thing to me.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned AJ Dillon. I keep waiting for him to get some playing time with Green Bay. I'd love to
I know.
see him get some runs in there. But obviously, he's a rookie, so he'll have to wait a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you said it. They ran the ball, I'd say, too much last year. That's pretty much all they did. Now they have that passing game, and they look very different from last year, in my opinion. When you watch them this year, just seeing them pass the ball so much, it's weird if you've been watching BC the last 5 years, but it's a really good weird because it's working.
Yeah, and especially if you watch Zay Flowers in particular. He actually told a story that he worked out with Antonio Brown during the offseason, and he's going to be one of the best receivers in the country in the next, 2 years. So their skill, really all of their skill guys, receivers, tight ends, Hunter Long at tight end, I believe is the number one tight end in the country right now. So their skill set, again, their skill position set, they're good to go for another 2 or 3 years.
So do you think this team has a chance in the next 2-3 years to maybe be one of the top teams in the country, or along with a potential playoff spot in the top 4?
So it's so hard to say playoff spot just because you always have Bama up there, and,
Right.
and to match them, to kind of compare them to anybody, it's always a step down. But can they compete in the ACC? Absolutely. They should have beaten Clemson. I mean, they should have won that game in Death Valley. They should have beaten North Carolina. They were a 2-point conversion away. So they could very well be in the ACC title game this year, if not for a couple slip-ups. So their recruiting classes have been incredible. They just got a new 4-star recruit last night from South Carolina, a monster linebacker. So really, when I say everybody's buying in, I've never seen anything like it, really, in terms of BC at least. There was always the talk 2007, 2008, but did anybody really think those teams were competing? I don't think so. So I think this is a much different look from the BC program, and people are just going to have to get used to it.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure the BC fans will be thrilled. And when we could get back to games, I'd imagine those stands being packed next year with the excitement around this team. And they're a pretty young team too. And to be 6-4, I'd say that's really impressive. And just looking at their roster, I mean, it doesn't seem like they have a few seniors, but it's mostly sophomores and juniors, right?
Yeah, and especially offensively, like I said, Jakovic, Flowers, Long, Jalen Gill, CJ Lewis, they're all coming back. And they've all been huge impact guys. Now, defensively, you're losing Max Richardson, your stalwart linebacker. I think he leads the country in tackles. If not, he's top 2 or 3. So you're going to lose some pieces, obviously. But offensively, for this offense to do what they've done under a brand new system and still be, sophomores and juniors, like you said, that's a dangerous, dangerous thing for the ACC.
Certainly is. And it just makes you realize that this team, they're going to be a force in the next couple of years. And there's a Holliston native on their roster, Thomas Hovsepian, linebacker. Has he got any playing time for all the local viewers out there?
I don't think so, but I know their recruiting around here is going to be a huge thing for Hafley this year. He's talked about it. And you got to remember, with the season in February now, they're going to be able to get to a lot of games around here because he really never got a chance to meet with any high school coaches. When he first took over, he took over last December. We were already done here. So he's going to have an entire season to go scour Massachusetts as well.
Oh, yeah. You'll see a lot of recruiting going on at those games for sure.
Yeah.
And hopefully there'll be some fans there too for the atmosphere, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So you're around the BC community. Do you know anything about the winter sports over there? Basketball is already happening. What about hockey? Is hockey going to be happening?
Yeah, I think Hockey East might have started, I want to say last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. I know they had a game with UNH postponed, but yeah, I think they're all systems go as well. So I just saw the basketball team actually had another 1,600 negative tests down in the bubble. So I guess it just runs in the family with figuring out COVID, I guess. But as far as I know, they're all set too.
Well,
the basketball team gave Villanova a heck of a game in their
Yeah.
first. That was a heck of a game.
I was mad they lost. They were winning the whole game,
They
and then
were.
they
They
blew
were.
it in the fourth quarter. I was like, no.
Would
But
you have money on it, Tom?
no, I did. I just like BC. I went to a game last year. I've been following them
Yeah.
for a few years. I don't do betting. No way, not me. But yeah, that's great to see it running in the family over at BC. And I believe the hockey tournament was canceled, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The East tournament or the Bean Pot. I believe that was
Yes,
canceled.
Beanpot was.
The Beanpot was canceled.
Yes, but it's good to see them playing some hockey because a lot of colleges around Massachusetts have unfortunately canceled winter sports.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's good to see BC getting out there. So they got one more game left, and more than likely, probably not a bowl game because of the cancellations. You think, or
I mean, it's so hard to tell. Like I said, they've already had, you had the Fenway Bowl canceled. That had an ACC team in it. The Sun Bowl was a really good one that they could have gone to. That's been canceled. Pinstripe Bowl in New York, they've been there a few times. That's already gone.
oh, that's a cool bowl. I love
That's
it.
the
They
one at
play
Yankee Stadium, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I was going to go drive down and cover that if they were in that one. So,
Oh man, that would have been a lot of fun. That would have been great.
so yeah, so I mean, look, they're bowl eligible, and you got to assume just based on advertisers and money, they're going to try and squeeze as many bowl games in as possible. But who knows how many they're going to be?
Right, we shall see, but we do know there'll be that top 4 tournament. I think they're going to do that. Too much money not to, but
Yeah,
hopefully we'll have some good bowl games with hopefully BC in one as well. But in any case, the Celtics, they made a couple of moves recently. Gordon Hayward is bye-bye. He's heading over to Charlotte. And the Celtics, they picked up Tristan Thompson. Any thoughts on the Celtics guys? I think they're building a pretty good team for next year. And I'm going to miss Gordon Hayward. I liked him, but he certainly, I don't think, was an essential piece to the team. But I think they've made some pretty good additions.
I agree with you about Gordon Hayward. I think, as you know, I was kind of a fan of Hayward being here. I remember Andy and I talked about that one day on the show. Andy wasn't a big Gordon Hayward guy, but I thought he brought kind of a little bit of a different skill set to the team, which I think could have been really beneficial. Obviously, some things went down or whatever that, I guess it didn't work out. I like the Tristan Thompson signing though. I think he's going to obviously help in the front court. Get some points, get some rebounds, play some defense, block some shots. And I think Jeff Teague is a good backup point guard after losing Brad Wanamaker to the Warriors. Wanamaker obviously had a nice role and season with the Celtics last year. I think Teague can come in and do the same, if not even better. I've been impressed with what I've seen from Teague over the years, playing for the Hawks and whatever other teams he's played for, and I'm excited to see what this team can do. This season for sure.
I'll certainly miss Sean Grandy saying Wanamaker's name, though. He always puts so much emphasis into it. Kevin, you got any Celtics thoughts?
So for them to still not have a true big out of all this is just brutal. My white whale would have been Andre Drummond.
What about Taco Fall?
yeah, right. So obviously, look, Thompson's going to be probably the best rebounder we've seen since Perk or KG at bare minimum here. So that's a big pickup. I think Jeff Teague's going to end up playing a lot more than people think. Getting injections in your knee if you're Kemba Walker just sounds like you're breaking down right now. So he might actually end up being your starting point guard for the majority of the year. So look, they're good and they're decent. Tatum and Brown need to obviously take another step, but you always hear that guys like Jordan and LeBron took 6-7 years to finally get over that hump. So I think we're only 3-4 years in. They need to eventually get to a finals, but I think they're still on their way. Again, I still would have rather a guy like Andre Drummond or Vucevic from Orlando, but they're going to compete in the East. I still think Brooklyn and Milwaukee will be better. Philly never scares me. I don't think Embiid can win at all. He just seems like a head case. But, yeah, I mean, I'm indifferent on them right now. I want to see how it kind of looks first. Again, I know that's a cop-out, but...
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have a pretty similar look to last year, and they should have made the championship this year, let alone they end up losing to Miami, which I can't even I didn't even imagine that was going to happen. But that was a horrible loss to Miami. They should have beat that team, but I think the problem in that series was they didn't have enough speed. And this Miami team, they were fast, they were young. And the Celtics, I think, down the stretch had trouble keeping up with them, but I think they got a little bit more speed now. And I think right now they're probably on about the same level as last year. If anything, they are moving in the right direction, which is good to see. But we have a lot of football to get into. We're going to bring Bob in for this. We're going to do our weekly NFL picks, and we'll talk about some of these games as we go through them as well. And we have a game kicking off in 10 minutes. We got the Ravens and the Steelers kicking off in 10 minutes. Right after this show, I'm throwing that on a game at 3:40 on a Wednesday afternoon. So they'll move the game 3 times for the sake of the Ravens, who had all these positive COVID tests, but they made the Broncos go out there without even a quarterback on their roster because of COVID-19. I mean, how mad are you right now if you're the Broncos? Obviously, they're a team that wasn't doing too well anyway, but to have to play the Saints of all teams without a quarterback, I mean, that's just unbelievable. I think it's pretty unfair. They're doing this for the Ravens because they want their big national game to look good, but they won't do it for these other teams. And how about the Patriots in week 6 when Cam tested positive? They had to go play a couple days later anyway with their backup quarterback. I think we're certainly seeing a lot of the biases in the NFL this year, guys.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If you're Pittsburgh, too, you're undefeated, 4 or 5 games away from going 16-0. You've now had to do this twice for other teams, not because of you.
Right.
It's ridiculous. It really is. And teams, they should be. I have to imagine some of these teams are really complaining. They have to be. I would be fuming if I was on the Broncos staff. I would be like calling Goodell every day. Why did we have to play? And why do they keep getting postponed? They got to make some noise because this just isn't right.
I saw that Jerry Jones said he didn't even feel bad for the Broncos. You know, he said like boo-hoo, you know.
Well, of course he doesn't feel bad. It doesn't affect him.
He could care less.
Right.
So if the Steelers go undefeated this year, do you think they'll have an asterisk next to their name in the record book because Miami's going to complain that they had to have their games canceled all the time?
See, I'd say no. I think this is much harder.
I agree.
Especially, like I said,
you're obviously not a Miami fan then.
No, God. Believe me, the 2007 game is still the worst thing I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the Steelers win today, though. After all the breaks the Ravens got, I don't want to see them win.
Yeah.
At first, I wanted them to beat the Steelers because I don't want the Steelers to finish undefeated. But now, after all the breaks they got, I hope they lose.
Well, the Ravens are playing without what? Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram, and J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, so Lamar's still out. Okay, so they postponed the game for nothing, essentially.
Hey, RG3 got a terrible backup.
So the Steelers should win like 46-0.
Well, maybe the Steelers will get devastated by the COVID-19 during the playoffs and have to drop out.
What happens in the playoffs?
Watch the Ravens win by like 3 touchdowns. That would be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous.
I could just imagine the Super Bowl. A team has to play with their 3rd string quarterback. I hope.
Tom, what did you think of the Pats win this weekend? Give me your thoughts on the Pats win this past weekend. I mean, Kevin and I are obviously both wearing Pats hats. What did you think of the Pats win this past weekend?
It was ugly, but a win's a win. Cam Newton was awful. He was terrible, but they got it done. Somehow they got it done. I don't know how. I don't know why, but they got it done. A win's a win. You know, it wasn't pretty. Not all the wins with Brady were pretty. I don't think any of them were that ugly, though. Yeah. But I think the Cardinals were out-coached. I think the defense played pretty well. And I was glad the Pats won after that blocking in the back call. It was awful. But it was a win, so I guess I can't complain about it. And it keeps them in the playoff picture, but I'm certainly worried that they pretty much have to win out if they want a playoff spot. I don't know if they could do that with Cam. And he has to pass better. They need to pass the ball more, and Cam needs He needs to pass better. He's off the mark on so many of his passes, and you're not going to be able to beat good teams like the Cardinals like they just did every single week, playing like you just did.
I agree. I agree.
So they need to play better, but they got the win, which is a miracle to me, but it was good to see.
If this team makes the playoffs, they are not going to do any damage at all. If this team makes
That's
the playoffs, they're toast. They're absolutely
right.
toast. Especially again,
Which is-
like you said, if Cam keeps playing this way, he's
Which
been
is why-
awful.
Oh,
which
he
is
has.
why they should have lost the Jets game. They should have lost the other game. The last section, they should have lost this game.
Yeah.
Look, they should be. Yes, they're going to make the playoffs, maybe. But if they do, like you just said, what are they ultimately going to do? So, obviously, this team would never tank, and I don't think the league is bad enough to allow that to happen. There's just some really dumb teams out there, like Arizona, who's going to give games away. But making the playoffs this year does nothing. All
Right.
it does is just kind of stunt the whole reset. So I'm torn in between this entire season. I hate it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not fun, but
No, not at all.
I guess what I want to see is guys step up. I mean, some of these
Yeah.
draft picks, and Kill Harry will never step up. He's just awful. But I want to see guys step up. I want to see Demir Bird step up. I want to see him become consistent.
He's definitely stepped up though at different times this year for sure.
Yeah.
Right, he certainly has, and he's looked good a number of times this year. But I want to see the defense step up, and there's been a lot of occasions that they haven't. Let's not forget. I mean, they're missing 8 players that opted out this season, and those 8 players were mostly all defensive, and they were all main guys. Like Hightower is one of them. I mean, he's a big piece in the linebacking core, and the defense has played pretty well, despite the fact that they're missing a lot of guys, which is great to see. And we know Belichick has always been more of a defensive coach and really good at working with defensive players. So that to me is a positive note. But I just want to see guys continue to step up this year and get better and get consistent, especially the receiving core, because it was absolutely atrocious to start off this year. And I'm not sure why, seeing how atrocious it was, that they haven't used James White more, because I really feel like that's a guy you could throw in the slot and use him as a slot receiver.
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
I don't know
Yeah.
why they're not. And Jacoby Myers, he's been another encouraging sign for the Pats as well. I hope he can get consistent, because I think he has a lot of talent. But they got to use James White more, guys.
Yep, I agreed. To
Agreed.
me, one thing I'll say is, to me, it seems like if the Pats make the playoffs this year, this is a team that would have to rely on their defense to kind of carry them, because I don't see the offense carrying them in any games in the playoffs. But even that's suspect, because the defense at times has looked absolutely brutal this year. Brutal.
Oh, it has.
I mean, you can't rely on a part of your team that's been extremely inconsistent, but I mean, I don't see them being able to really rely on the offense at all. So
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, if this team makes the playoffs, they're toast. They're done.
All right, they won't go anywhere, but it'd be nice to see, just for the excitement, I guess. And who knows, maybe a potential upset. You never know. They did beat the Ravens.
That would be a pleasant surprise. That would be a
If-
pleasant surprise.
If anyone could pull off a drastic upset in the playoffs, it probably would be Bill Belichick. So I'd like to see him get there. Will they do anything? Probably not. But I just remember watching in the second quarter, and they are using James White more, obviously, with the Rex Burkhead injury. But I remember seeing him making this nice catch, and it was a good gain, got him a first down. I forget exactly what play it was, and I just thought to myself, why aren't they using this guy? This guy was clutch in the Atlanta Super Bowl. He's clutch pretty much whenever he's on the field. He doesn't drop a lot of passes. Why aren't they using this guy? I don't get it. He's on the roster. He's there. I don't know. But anyways, I guess that's a question for Bill Belichick. But I think they're going to use him quite a bit now. Anyways, let's get into the picks for this week. We got a couple of doozies in here. All right, we got a matchup of 2 potential playoff teams. Oh, wait, hold on. That's Sunday. Do we have a Thursday game? Oh, no, the Thursday game got moved. That's right. It was all kinds of games moved around thanks to the Ravens. All right, so we got the Browns at the Titans as our first game. This is going to be a great game. Titans, they had a statement win last week against the Colts, and I think they are moving in the right direction. I think this will be a close one, but I think Titans are going to take it. Jared, what do you got?
Give me the Titans in a close one. Like you said, I think the Browns have been playing a little bit better recently. I mean, both teams are 8-3. But I think Derrick Henry ultimately is the difference maker, and the Titans get it done somehow, some way.
All right, Bob, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Titans. I've been making such lousy picks. I'm just gonna go with whatever you say is fine with me.
No, you did good last week. You went 9-6. I went.
9-6.
I was only a game better than you. So
Yeah, fortunately, I don't make
tied
a
Mike.
living betting on these things.
You tied Mike at 9-6. Kevin, what do you got?
Give me Tennessee here. I think the Indianapolis loss, I think it was 2 weeks ago, was kind of their holy crap moment. They've looked different the last 2 weeks. I think they're kind of ramping up for the playoffs now. So I love what Cleveland's done. I've been shocked that they're 8-3. I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cleveland will probably sneak in there.
Yeah.
They won't do much, but they'll sneak in. I think they're a pretty good team. They're moving in the right direction at least. I mean, they're doing all this without Odell, so that's good on their part. Here we go, a matchup of the falling Raiders at the New York Jets. For some reason, if the Jets are going to get a win, I think it'll be this game, but there's no way I could pick them in my right mind. So I'm going Raiders. Jared, what do you got?
Is anybody picking the Jets? Let's just do this. Is anybody picking the Jets?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Anyone picking the Jets?
I thought about it, but I can't do it.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I do like the spot for them though.
You like what?
The spot, like you said, if it was going to happen, it's this week.
Yep.
Yeah, or it's going to be the Patriots in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but I still fall back on my prediction 4 weeks ago. The Jets are not going to give up the top draft pick, so they're not going to win.
Well, I don't think they would give it up at 1-15. I think they have a little leeway there.
They're not going to risk it.
I think they can win one and be okay, if I'm not mistaken. Or I don't know. Does Jacksonville have more than one win? I think they do. Jacksonville at Minnesota. All right.
Jacksonville does have one win. Jacksonville is 1-10.
Yep.
Okay. We'll do this on this one. Is anyone picking Jacksonville?
No.
Okay.
Jacksonville is awful. God awful.
The Bengals with their backup quarterback at Miami. Is anyone picking the Bengals?
Nope.
All right.
Nope. I'm going Dolphins.
The board. There we go. Here's a good one. The Colts at the Texans. Crucial division matchup. The Colts, this is kind of a must-win game for them if they want to stay in. Pretty much every game is going to be a must-win game in that division from this point out. But if they want to stay in the running with the Titans, this is going to be a game they have to win. And I'll tell you what, the Texans, the last couple of weeks have been playing well. They've been playing well. Deshaun Watson's getting better. And you know what? We'll start off with Bob on this one.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Because I'm picking the Colts. I disagree with you, Tom. I think the Colts are going to come back this week. I think they know they have to win.
I didn't reveal my pick yet, but I'm going with the upset special. I'm going with Houston. I'm doing it. Jared, what do you got?
I'm going with the Colts. Obviously, Will Fuller is suspended for 6 games now. I don't know if you guys saw. He posted on Instagram that.
That's right. Performance enhancers.
Yeah. So that's obviously a big loss to the Texans offense. Give me the Colts.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm going to take Indy here as well. If they had Will Fuller, I would have taken the Texans. Just if you have, that connection with Deshaun, I don't know if Indy can stop that, but Deshaun by himself, I think he's screwed.
Well, I think Cooks is going to get it done. Yeah, I mean, Fuller definitely hurts. I'll probably regret that pick. I guess we'll find out. So the next game, Detroit at Chicago. The Lions, they are awful. They are failing miserably. And they just fired Matt Patricia, though. And I have a weird superstition about teams after they just fired their head coach. And from what I've heard, he wasn't well liked there. And the Bears, they looked so bad last week against the Packers. You know what? I'm going to go with my superstitions here. I think the Lions are going to pull this one out. I'm going upset special. Give me Detroit. Kevin, what do you got?
I'm going to take the Bears here. Both offenses are terrible, but I just like the Bears at home. They need a win. They're still in the playoff hunt, so they need it desperately. Give me Chicago.
All right, Bob.
Yeah, I am going with the Bears. I've been picking them all season long and losing. I got to get right once.
Jared.
I don't like either team. I think both teams stink.
He's going
I
with
mean,
the
I'm
tie.
tempted to pick a Bob. I'm tempted to pick a tie here. I mean, I think both teams really stink. I don't think I picked the Bears all year in any of these picks.
So what do you think it'll
But I
be?
guess for the sake of it, I'll pick the Bears.
All
2 to 2 with safeties by everybody.
Yeah, I think they're both horrible, but you know what? I don't know. I have a feeling that maybe they hated Matt Patricia so much they wanted to get him fired. Maybe they'll start playing good now. The Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know if we have to go around the table in this one. Is anyone picking Atlanta?
I'm tempted to pick Atlanta. I'm very tempted to pick Atlanta, but I don't quite think I can do it, and I'll probably regret it.
I actually am.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We should have went around the table.
No, it's fine. I get it. For me, it's just one of those the spots. Just simply the spot for Atlanta. That's a grinded out win for the Saints, and to come back from Denver and then have to go play a division opponent. Give me Atlanta here.
All right, Bob. What do you got?
No, I'm taking the Saints. No offense, Kevin, but I think
I'm
the Saints.
All right, Jared. Have you reached your final verdict?
Yeah, no, I'm going Saints. I got the Saints.
All right, there
Who
it
do
is.
you got, Tom?
I got the Saints.
You got the Saints? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. They're playing well no matter what their situation is recently. Poor Denver last week. Getting into the 4:00 games, the first place in the NFC East, New York Football Giants at the Seattle Seahawks. Since they're a first place team, we have to go around the table. I'm going to go with Seattle, though, because I think Seattle, they are on the upswing. Their defense looking slightly better. And the Giants, though, they're always competitive. So all season, I don't know if they've lost a game by more than like 7 points. Every single game they play has been competitive. I think they're going to keep this close, but I think Seattle's going to win. Jared, what do you got?
Aren't the Giants playing with their backup quarterback?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, no. Are they? I don't know.
Is Eli Manning backing up? Is it Eli?
No.
No. Eli,
It's David. It's their starter they've had all year. David Jones.
No, he's injured.
Daniel Jones is hurt. I don't know who their backup is.
Didn't Eli retire?
Yeah.
I thought Eli retired. Yeah.
Yeah, he retired.
Either way, I'm picking the Seahawks. Russell Wilson is too good.
All right. Bob, what do you got?
Seahawks. And I don't see how you can pick the Giants.
I didn't pick the Giants. I said I picked Seattle. I said the Giants will keep it close, but Seattle will. Because that's what happened.
Because they're first place, huh?
The Giants are a team of heartbreak. And I'm not a Giants fan. I hate them. But every single game they've played, they've been within like 7, or they've had the lead late and blew it. But they lose quite a bit of games. But Seattle's going to win this.
So what you're saying is Giants are losers.
Yes.
Okay, I agree. Giants are losers.
Kevin, what do you got?
Seattle. I mean, there's just no way, right?
Right.
Giants are going to – now that we all pick Seattle, Giants will win.
Yeah.
All right, we got the L.A. Chargers, who have looked pretty good this year. I like their quarterback, Herbert. I think he certainly has a future. At the Arizona Cardinals, the Arizona's too desperate for a win here. I don't think they're going to let this game go. I'm going to go with Arizona. Let's see. Kevin,
the Patriots playing the Chargers, aren't they?
Yeah, the Patriots are playing the Chargers, Tom.
Oh, this is the Rams. I'm sorry. It's these LAs, man. It's the LA Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. Okay, now I got to rethink this. I'm going Rams. I think they're going to get a win here. I think this will be a close one, though, but a crucial game for both teams. Kevin, what do you got?
Yeah, give me the Rams. They've been one of the surprising teams to me this year. I thought after that Super Bowl a couple of years ago, they would go straight downhill. They've really bounced back. Their offense is actually really, really good.
Well, you know, they
So-
dominated. Oh, you're
Give me the right here.
all right. They dominated Tampa, and then the next week they had some crazy loss. I think they're a little up and down kind of team, but I do think they're talented, and when they're on their A game, they could beat anybody. Jared, what do you got?
I'm going with the Cardinals here. I think the Cardinals are going to bounce back from that loss to the Patriots. I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to get it going this week, and I think the Cardinals are going to find a way to pull this one out. The Rams have certainly been playing well. Their offense is dangerous, but I got a hunch, and I like the Cardinals this week. Not by a lot, though. By less than a touchdown.
You're right. Yeah, this is going to be a close game, I think. Bob, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree with Jared. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I think that they're going to make a comeback after that devastating loss to the Patriots. And I can't imagine that you would give credit to the Patriots for winning that game. If anything, it was the Cardinals that lost that game.
Oh, yeah. Just
Agreed.
awful coaching decisions
Agreed.
by the Cardinals. Way too many substitutions. They try to be too fancy. They're trying to be too cute, I think. And when you try to be too cute against Belichick, it normally doesn't go your way. Here's a game that worries me. The Patriots at the Chargers. This is going to be a close game. And you know what? I'm going to let Jared pick first.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
He needs a minute.
Give me the Chargers,
All right.
honestly. Give me the
Seriously.
Chargers.
With the way you don't know what Patriots you're going to get. Is it going to be the one that beat Baltimore, or is it going to be the one that last week where Cam can't throw? Bob, what do you got?
I'm going with the Chargers. I don't think that I've never been a fan of Cam Newton since he came here, and I know he's had flashes of brilliance, but I think his last game was the beginning of the saga of Cam Newton's demise at the Patriots.
I love it. It's a hot take there. Kevin, what do you got?
Yeah, Chargers. I don't even think this game's close, to be honest. If you've watched that Chargers offense, I don't know how this Patriots offense keeps up with theirs. I'm thinking like, I don't know, 31-14, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So you think blowout? I think it's going to be a close game, and I think Chargers are going to win because I like the Chargers receivers too much. And their quarterback's playing well. They got Keaton Allen and
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams. That's it. They got some good weapons there. They're a good young team. I don't know how they're 3-8. They should be better than that. They should at least be 6-5, 5-6.
Agreed.
But they have
Okay.
had some horrible losses. And if they lose to the Pats, this is what's going to happen. Chargers get up big and they'll blow a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter because that's what's happened to them a number of times this year. All right, so Chargers across the board. I think it's the first time we all picked against the Pats.
Wow.
But who can blame us this year?
I know,
With the way
right?
they're playing. All right, we got the Philadelphia Eagles against the Green Bay Packers. Is anybody going to go Philly?
Nope.
All right.
I can't go Philly. Philly's just too inconsistent. I mean, Philly every game, it seems like they're going to do just enough to pull something out. And then Wentz will throw like an interception or something, or they'll blow it somehow. They'll fumble in their own zone, something. They're
Yeah.
gonna blow it.
And
I physically cannot go with the Eagles. I think the Eagles need to be starting Jalen Hurts regularly now.
they should. I don't know what happened with Wentz, but he's awful.
He really is.
He threw so many short passes against the Seahawks last week. So many ugly passes.
I mean, that league is just awful. That league
Oh, yeah.
is horrendous.
The division.
Or that
Yeah.
division. Yeah, what a horrendous division.
Oh, awful. We'll
On
have
the flip-
we could
on
have a
the flip side of
5-11
that-
team in the playoffs. Oh, sorry, Kevin.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say, on the flip side, Green Bay, I think they're the best team in the NFC right now. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's,
Yep.
10 years younger.
It's either them or the Saints, in my opinion. Who's the
Okay.
best? All right, we're
Or
gonna
the
pick.
Seahawks. I think the Seahawks could be thrown into the mix too if the
Yeah.
Seahawks defense starts playing better consistently.
Yeah, and
Agreed.
that's the factor with them. The defense has to start playing better. All right, we got a few more games because we have some Monday and Tuesday games. But first, our Sunday night football game. I don't know how this is still on the Sunday night slate. I don't know why they haven't flexed out of this one. Denver at Kansas City. Is anyone going to take the chance of going with the Denver Broncos?
No, I think
God,
everybody's going with the Chiefs here. Legitimately, everybody's going with the Chiefs.
I
Bob, are you
think
going with the
so.
Broncos?
No, sir, I'm not. I'm not always right, but I can't be that wrong.
All right. And then we have 2 Monday games, 2 of them. We have a 5 p.m. game. The Washington football team got a big win last week over the Dallas Cowboys. Domination on Thanksgiving. Jerry Jones, he was mad.
By the way, I was up against Tyreek Hill in fantasy this past weekend and got absolutely owned.
I was too in one of my leagues. It wasn't fun.
It was not fun. Oh my gosh.
Yep. He had like 52 points or something ridiculous. Washington football team at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Does anyone think Washington could pull off the upset and ruin the Steelers' chances at being undefeated, or possibly ruin, since the Steelers are playing right now?
No,
Well,
but I do think it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
I agree with Kevin. I'm
That
with
team
Kevin on
plays
this.
hard.
I can see that. I like it. Right. And Alex Smith, I like him. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he was out for 2 years. Now he's back, and he's playing better and better every game, I think. So I could see that being a close game.
Yeah.
And they might have something there with that Gibson guy, the running back there.
Yeah. Oh, he had a big game this past week.
Huge game. I was
Yeah,
playing.
but they're not going to have much rest between the Steelers is playing right now and what, 3:45 they started,
That is true.
and then they're playing Sunday.
No,
And
Tuesday, I thought.
That's a Monday game.
Oh, Monday, but
Monday.
that's Monday night.
Yep.
And the Ravens can be pretty hard on them.
Yeah, they still get, 4 days? So I don't know. They'll probably
Oh,
be
sure,
all right.
you could recover in 4 days, no problem.
Teams are used to going from Sunday to Thursday, so they get the standard 4 days you'd get if you had Thursday night football after a Sunday game, pretty much. All right, the 8:15 Monday night game is the Buffalo Bills at the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers, they are hanging in there. I don't know how they're doing it. Jimmy G's hurt, and I think he's done in San Francisco. I think they're going to let him go. But they're hanging in there. They got to win, what was it, last week? Against the Rams. They beat the Rams last week. That's the team I was trying to think of. A very impressive divisional win. I don't know what to expect out of the 49ers. And I'm not sure who to pick yet. So we're going to start off with Kevin.
Only because this game is in Arizona and not San Fran. I'm going to take Buffalo. If this was actually in San Fran, I'd actually probably take the 49ers. Like you said, they're somehow hanging around. And I think it's mostly just because of that defense still. They're getting healthy. And I don't think Nick Mullins, a quarterback, is anything special. But if this was an actual home game, I would take them. I just think Buffalo is too good right now. There's no true home field advantage. Give me the Bills.
All right. Bob, what do you got?
I got the Bills. They like that warm weather. They'll be happy to be playing down there.
Jared.
I got the Bills. I got the Bills. I like Josh Allen this year. Josh Allen, he's been a little inconsistent at times, but I think, he's been playing pretty well. And like Kevin said, I think that if this game was in San Francisco, I might be tempted to pick the 49ers, but I'm going Bills.
All right. I like it. I'm going Bills too. I don't think the 49ers can beat the Rams and then go beat the Bills. I think they're one of those upset special teams, but not 2 weeks in a row. So I'll go Bills.
That would just be madhouse. I don't even know what I would do if that happened.
Yes, that would be pretty crazy. I'd be happy about it for the Patriots' sake. But, Tuesday night football, an 8:00 game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Baltimore Ravens. Is anyone going with Dallas? I take that as a no. Baltimore.
I think if some of these guys for the Ravens are still out and they continue to have issues, I'm tempted to take Dallas.
Yeah.
Like if Lamar
Right.
doesn't play again, or if Ingram doesn't play, or Dobbins. If all those guys are out again, but I don't think all those guys will be out again.
You know what? I think all those guys could still be out and they'll still beat Dallas. That's what I think. All right. I think they're going to still beat them. Well, anyways, we are out of time. We got to wrap it up. Guys, thanks so much for joining me. And thank you, everybody, for watching out there. For everyone at HCAM, I'm Tom Nappy. Take care and be well.